Hello, I'm Brandon Lowery, and this is the Risk Management and Liability in the Sports Business Industry, assignment number 4. The facility I chose is Bank of America Stadium. There are a number of different events at Bank of America Stadium. The most prominent, obviously, is the NFL games. It's the home of the Carolina Panthers. So you would have eight home games each year for the regular season, then also 2 preseason games. So it's a total of 10 games. And then you look at any playoff games, such as last year, there was a home playoff game. Also hosts the ACC Championship and the Belk Bowl for college football. There's also been events such as the Democratic National Convention, the Obama acceptance speech. This year there's also International Champions Cup Soccer with Liverpool coming to play a game. But the event that I'm going to choose to use and for this assignment is to use the Carolina Panthers home games, the National Football League games. Look at the standards of negligence, conduct that falls below the standard established by law for the protection of others against unreasonable risk or harm. Bank of America Stadium, the Carolina Panthers have a standard to not be negligent and put people at risk by coming to watch the NFL game. It's also the liability of the state of being bound by law to do something or make good something. It's a legal responsibility. Bank of America Stadium, the Carolina Panthers have a liability to the people that come to the stadium, the people that also work there. There are liability concerns with them when there's an event at the stadium. And that leads into the liability concerns for each prospective group. You look at spectators. You could have faulty equipment causing injuries, such as a mounted TV falls off the ceiling as they're walking through the lobby of the stadium, or the interactions with other spectators. Sometimes you have people from different teams or that are fans of different teams who do not interact well. The stadium holds close to 75,000 people, so there's lots of opportunity for there to be disregard. Food and drink preparation for the event. There's food and drink served at the event. You could have weather that causes unsafe conditions such as snow, ice, rain, where people may fall or stuff of that nature. You also have intoxication from alcohol. So those are some of the liability concerns for spectators. Employees, you have the working injuries that could happen, the stadium hazards that they work in. Those could be some of the liability concerns for the employees. Officials, they're on the field during the game. The interactions with players that can possibly collide during the game. Photographers, possible collisions with players on the sidelines. You see that happen at times. The participants, the players are the biggest part of the participant that have liability concerns. And it may not possibly be with just solely on the stadium, but players are colliding constantly during the game. And we've seen recently the liability of the National Football League for the concussions of the players that participated in NFL games. Also, coaches on the field. With an NFL game, it's when we look at liability concerns, in our most recent assignment here, we in sports law and contracts, we looked at NASCAR and how they have the assumption of risk on the ticket and some of the liability concerns that happen at a NASCAR event. With football, you're not really worried about a car flying over the fence and coming into the crowd. A lot of the the stuff that could happen would be the players who are abnormally fast, athletic, and they're also wearing helmets and pads and those type deal. Not only hitting each other, but hitting people that may be close to the action on the sidelines. Most of the time, spectators, and especially at Bank of America Stadium, are protected by a wall from the players, and they won't be in any type of way to be collided with during the game, but people on the sidelines, such as the photographers or people in the game, the referees, the coaches, could be hit. So a lot of the liability concerns with the interaction of football is the players colliding with someone either on the sideline or right within the action. You're also looking at staff. There's a lot of security that's at Bank of America Stadium for the security of the spectators, but also with the high volume of people, it's a liability concern for, they deal with intoxicated people. There's a chance of altercations. So those are some of the liability concerns for each group of people. The duty of care. Bank of America Stadium and the Carolina Panthers have a legal obligation to protect another party or person from unreasonable risk. For the spectators, they provide security, safety mechanisms around the stadium, provide quality food and drink made to specification. Employees, you can go through safety meetings, extensive training of proper job execution. Officials, you can actually look at where a lot of the incidents occurs and where people begin to run into each other or run into the players, and have a placement of officials and training to limit collisions with the players. Photographers can have designated areas that allow for extra safety. Players are provided equipment to protect with the violent hits against each other, and also rules of ways to hit each other during the game to minimize the impact. Security can be provided great communication, so that they can receive plenty of help in the need or the time of an altercation. Also, law enforcement nearby to help with the altercation, outside law enforcement, and also training of proper job functions. Responsibility. Sometimes the liability can be shared in instances, or also appropriated to someone else. In this case, the National Football League, the players and the Carolina Panthers fall under the National Football League. The National Football League was actually responsible for the recent concussion lawsuit due to the rules that they made and the governing of concussions. $755 million was paid out to players as part of the concussion lawsuit. So in this case, at the stadium, the players during the game could possibly be liable under the NFL, or fully liable under the NFL. Also, there's an establishment such as Bank of America Stadium could hire someone to do the food and beverage for the event, to take that liability off their plate as well, such as a company like Delaware North does the Carolina Panthers Stadium, and Legends Hospitality does Amway in Orlando. These are some of the people that could hold the responsibility, or companies that could hold the responsibility or liability over the Bank of America Stadium and just the event facility. Assumption of risk allows Bank of America Stadium to note potential hazards to spectators. Spectators can assume the risk of common things such as consuming food in the venue. Assumption of risk could be displayed on the ticket, or as long as it were acknowledged. You could also have an acknowledgement of the people, so they understand the risks that they have by being at the game, that there are potential hazards. It would be different for the different groups that go. The assumption of risk would be different because of the risk factors and the possible liability between the different groups. And I'm a big believer that the potential risk should always be communicated. Whether the assumption of risk could really control, I don't think the assumption of risk really does well in an NFL game. But you can also always put the potential risks that always be communicated. When there's something that could happen or go wrong or something has happened, if those are communicated to people, it's less likely to happen. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.